Good morning, welcome, thank you for coming. Before we start, let me just say I haven't studied physics. I don't know how or why physics works on a motorcycle. I just know that it does. I know that if I drop something, it's going to land on the floor, probably butter side down. I don't need to know why, I just know that it does, and I accept that it does. If you want to read the full scientific version of Full Control, then I'll direct you to the IAM website. If you just put into the search bar IAM Full Control, it'll take you straight through to the document, and there's no pesky sign-on to deal with. I've studied this document for at least 10 years and I still don't understand it. So what I'm going to do today is try and explain it and unravel some of the mysteries, and hopefully do it in a way that's easy for everyone to understand. So if you do have a degree in physics, I apologise. Today's topic will be about counter steering or positive steering. To me, they sound the opposite, but when spoken in relation to a motorcycle, they actually mean the same. But first, we're going to start with some real basic stuff. So we're going to start with, how do we sit on a bike? Apart from the obvious of facing forward, you may think it's as simple as placing your feet on the pegs and holding onto the bars. But is it? Like, where do I put my feet? In the document Full Control, the preferred riding position is with the balls of your feet on the foot pegs, not your arches. I mean, how many of you ride around with the arches of your foot on the pegs? Because it's the most comfortable. Having the balls of your feet on the pegs may not be the most comfortable, but after a while you won't be able to put your feet anywhere else. By having the balls of your feet on the pegs, you'll get a lot of feedback from the bike. You'll be able to feel the engine revs through your feet. You'll also get feedback from the road surface. You will have to move your foot to operate the brake and the gear pedal, but this is the IAM's preferred riding position. Having said that, it may not be the most appropriate thing to do. Like whilst riding in town traffic and built up areas, you then may want to consider actually having the arches of your feet on the foot pegs, and because you will need to use the brake and the gears a lot more. So whilst it is the preferred riding position, it may not always be the best option. Also, your arms should have a bend in the elbow. This is to absorb any impact. Your elbows act as a shock absorber. If you rode along with straight arms, if you were to go over a bump, then the jarring could be transferred through your arms back into the bike and upset the handling of the bike. You should also have a relaxed grip on the handlebars. It should feel like you hardly need to hold on if it weren't for the throttle. You need a nice relaxed body posture for your body to act as a shock absorber for the bike. So now we're sitting on the bike properly. How do we actually steer around a bend? So before today, how many of you have heard the term positive steering or counter steering? How many of you use it? Hands up, how many of you actually use it? Okay, that's a bit of a mean question, because without counter steering, it's impossible to steer a bike. You always use it. So what is it and how do we do it? Counter steering is used by motorcyclists or cyclists to initiate a turn towards a given direction by momentarily steering counter to the desired direction. That's it in a nutshell. Okay, so if you are riding your bike and you pushed on the left handlebar, which way will your bike turn? Hands up for left. Hands up for right. Well, you're both correct. It depends how fast you're going. Below about walking pace, if you push on the left bar, you will go right as expected. But above walking pace, you'll in fact go left. You push on the left bar, you will go left. Bizarre, I know, but true. Try it for yourself. Next time you're in a car park or a quiet road, stay away from cars and give it a practice. I think you will push gently, because I think you'll be rather surprised. So why does this happen? When you initiate a turn by pushing on the left handlebar, there is a tiny moment where the front wheel does actually turn right. But as we're now leaning left on the bike falls to the left, and then the rolling circumference is now decreased, making the bike turn in the direction of the lean. I'll explain that fully in a moment. As a visual demonstration, I have here two conical shaped cups, and when I tape them together, they should resemble a motorcycle tyre profile. And as you can see, when I give them momentum, they turn because of the profile shape. So when do we use positive steering or counter steering? Well, we use it every single time we want to negotiate a bend, however severe that bend might be. How many of you have misjudged a bend and gone in a little too fast, or faster than you would have liked? We've all done it at some point. This is where counter steering really comes into its own. To make that bend a little tighter, push on the bar a little more until the desired lean is reached. And what do we do when we've reached the desired angle of lean on that bend? We either hold the pressure on the bar, or when the bend starts opening up, we slowly release the pressure and the bike will start to come upright again. When a motorcycle is in motion with no steering input from the rider, a bike will go straight. How many times have we seen in the GP a rider falls off but the bike carries on by itself in a straight line? A motorcycle will always go in a straight line unless it's given some input. So what happens when we corner? Well, we all know what a motorcycle tyre profile looks like. Unlike a car, a motorcycle tyre has a rounded profile. The circumference is longer in the middle than it is on the outer edge, which you can see in the picture here. Lines A and B are exactly the same length, but hopefully you can see line B sticks up further at the top, demonstrating the circumference of the outer edge is smaller. So how does that affect cornering, and why is it important? If a bike is travelling at a constant speed in an upright position, it would have travelled X distance. Now, if a bike is leaning over, travelling at the same speed, but the circumference of the tyre is smaller, what's going to happen? Yep, the bike will have travelled less distance despite going at the same speed. In reality, this translates into the bike going slower round a bend. At this point, if we have vision, are in the right position and have all the information, we may want to give a little more throttle. We're not doing this to speed up, but to maintain our previous entry speed. We should always be on a positive throttle when going round a bend. If you roll off the throttle whilst leaning over, this will make the bike want to sit upright again. Remember, Sir Isaac Newton told us that an object will remain in a state of inertia unless acted upon by force. Here endeth the lesson. Thanks for staying until the end. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask. Thank you.